On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
This or see this or know this.
Hey, you've been disingenuous because
So
your
so
argument.
so
Wait.
saying
Your
that
argument
we
was
really
the narrative that's being created in the picture that's being painted by the media. You didn't say certain words. You didn't say any of that. You're
I was
saying
answering your
the
question.
image and the
I was
narrative.
answering your question. You
No,
said
no.
you're here.
Stop. Let me finish.
Anton, you said you're
How do
here.
you do that? Why do you do
Anton,
that
wait.
when
You
you
said
start
that
getting
you
called
are
out? When
Anton,
you start
said
getting
that
called
you're
out
here.
for what it is
Okay,
that you saying
please
wrong,
stop.
because
You
you
said
always say,
here,
don't misquote me and don't do none of that.
You just said there's
you got
nothing.
it. You got it.
Okay, thank you. You just said I'm here and I can say whatever I want. I'm talking to that point when you brought that up. I know you can hear me, but I'm talking to that point when you brought that up. Everyone here knows that there are things we cannot say or the video gets flagged. I don't know if anyone can make anti-Semitic jokes. I don't think so.
Bullshit. What are you looking at? What comedy shows you looking at?
that is never gonna happen. Anti-Semitic jokes is never gonna be funny. It's never gonna be cool. It's never gonna happen. Okay, tell me something. Tell me an anti-Semitic joke somebody made and it went well. Tell me.
He's not saying that they're funny. What he's saying is we make them, and we know because
who was famous that made like a anti-Semitic joke that got no pushback?
Dave Chappelle, I think he
Dave
did.
Chappelle talks about all genders and races and
okay, but like we're talking specifically.
I mean, who can come up with a joke right off the top of their head? Come on, let's be fair.
Oh, okay, so nobody knows.
He's not even saying anybody. He's just saying we make them.
Nobody knows because it doesn't happen because people know if they say something that you're gonna get canceled. They already know.
I'm gonna be on my chaotic truth on this one. They don't joke on each other. If you look at the Jewish community, they hold themselves to the utmost standard. They don't joke on each other. They're not on the internet blasting their community. They're not doing any of that. They've held themselves to a standard, and therefore, because they expect everyone else to. So with us, we joke on everybody. We do the most craziest things on the internet. Mm-hmm. So we don't have a standard for ourselves. So it's easy to kind of pick at us, and then it gets us all emotional. You bet not. Why not? There's no standard that we have for the community to set for the world. Exactly. So it's like comparing apples to oranges when you talk about a standard and how we treat each other online, offline, compared to their community. You won't find them talking about their men or their women or their children or their community. So they have a standard for themselves.
Yeah, globally on the internet. Globally, the African American community has done one thing across the board that is significant, that everybody across the globe recognizes, is that we know how to treat each other like shit.
Okay,
and we can spit a hot 16 too.
Hey,
we have to remember.
Even in that hot 16,
we have to remember.
Well, hold on. Let me just
hot 16. We gonna disrespect the fuck out of each other.
Hey, can I please just drop a fact though? Right? She said who? Anton said David Chappelle, and then she said what joke? You remember when David Chappelle did the race draft, and then he was the race draft.
What they was on the show.
Yes, and you remember? I think the Jews had the Jays had drafted Lenny Kravitz. Hey, and niggas laugh. And the thing is,
that's not really like. I mean, okay.
Dave Chappelle talks about all communities. He talks about the rainbow community.
So, like, in terms of what you were saying, Courtney, like us, you know, as Black people doing certain things. I get what you're saying, but like we have to also think about the fact that like what's put out in the media is not controlled by us, right? So there might be people who are willing to get paid to do certain things, fine. But the ultimate decision of what gets put on TV or out in the mainstream is not Black people's decision. So
what is the media?
So if we're talking about, you know, different types of things that get airplay it might seem like, oh my goodness, Black people do this, this, and this, and that we the only ones, and these other groups don't do it. But I always like to think about like day-to-day life. Of course, if you're a Black person and you hang around with mostly Black people, you're going to see certain things. But I wouldn't go as far as to say like no one, like other people don't, joke within their own group.
Well, let me say that even when we have said control over production, like Tyler Perry, it's still the Medeas. It's still the stereotypical.
But that's not we. That's him. That's one person. And
I understand that, but
people brought him in. Like somebody approved and said, "Look, Tyler Perry movies can be distributed by insert major distribution."
That's not what happened with Tyler Perry. That's not what happened at all.
Well, but
so Tyler Perry didn't have to get played somewhere, Anton.
No, he literally built it from the ground up, and he put on his own. He put on his own shows and his own productions, and then people wanted to do. No, he put on his own stuff. He went straight direct to consumer, and then people said, "Hey, I want to be in business with you." And then he set the standard by which they could do business with him, and he built his own studio, and he's doing his own thing. And he controls the narrative. So, considering that he controls what he wants to put out when he wants to do it, my question then becomes, because it's always this mythical media. It's these, Wizard of Oz behind the scenes, and he's pulling all the strings, right? What is the media not controlled by us? Because I don't see anybody stopping me from saying anything that I want to say.
You don't hear people say, "Oh, be careful with that word" while we're here on YouTube.
I'm asking who is specific. No. I don't want you to deflect. I don't want you to deflect. Who is the media specifically that you're talking about that's controlling the narrative?
There are different types of media. There's print media, there's the news.
Don't nobody care about that no more. That's dead. Go ahead. What's next?
I'm just trying to see, like, we are literally here on YouTube, Anton, and you know that certain things you can't and won't say. Why are you acting like you don't understand this or see this or know this?
Hey, you've been disingenuous because your argument was the narrative that's being created in the picture that's being painted by the media. You didn't say certain words. You didn't say any of that. You're saying
I was answering your question.
Image and the narrative.
I was answering your question. You said
no. Stop. Let me finish.
You said you're here.
How do you do that? Why do you do that when you start getting called out? When you start getting called out for what it is that you stand wrong, because you always say, "Don't misquote me and don't do none of that."
You just said there's
nothing. You got it.
Okay, thank you. You just said I'm here and I can say whatever I want. I'm talking to that point when you brought that up. I know you can hear me, but I'm talking to that point when you brought that up. Everyone here knows that there are things we cannot say or the video gets flagged.